Allene Cunningham has been called the psychic advisor to the stars.
I'll tell you things you never even dreamed of.
Allene's personalized daily horoscope tells you everything you need to know with amazing accuracy. Love, money, success, health. Will your dreams come true? Write down your special telephone number. Today could be your very special day.
Is there anything more misunderstood in history than magic? Here's what your history classes conveniently skipped. The world was not built by logic and reason alone. It was built by something much more ancient.
The Hidden History of Magick tells the true stories of the astrologer in the White House, the intuitive who sat alongside Gilded Age tycoons, and the black ops government agencies that have used mediums to talk to aliens since the 30s.
These moments often get covered up, sidelined, or buried because they prove something. Magic is not fringe. It's used every day.
Because while we've been trained to trust everything but our own intuition, the people in power never stop consulting the stars. They know something we've been taught to forget. Magic is real, and we have access to it.
I'm Rhiannon Houch.
And I'm Erin Bagwell.
We are psychics, witches, mothers, and storytellers ready to break down history's best-kept secrets.
Welcome to the Hidden History of Magick.
Today on the show, we explore the radio and TV mediums who have shaped culture, entertainment, and made Oprah a spiritual guru.
Plus, a deep dive into the story of Allene Cunningham, the most famous psychic you've never heard of.
Paolo, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you. We're so excited to dive into TV mediums and share a little history. For the Hidden History of Magick folks who don't already worship Paolo Presta, he is a 9-time Telly winner for his talk show, A Spoonful of Paolo, where he interviews celebrity guests about dreaming big. And word on the street is he sends the best Christmas cards every year. Paolo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much to both of you. I am so honored to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
First of all, I need to know about this Christmas card extravaganza that's happening and how I can get on the list.
You're going to be on the list. After this, you're going to send me your address.
Okay, perfect.
It's something that my husband, we've been together for almost 20 years, and like the last 15 years, he puts a lot of thought into it, and it's always a theme from a show or a movie that's related to the holidays. So okay. He starts working on them in October, so we can have them be mailed out in the middle or the end of November. But yeah, Rhiannon knows all the cards because she gets it, her and her family. But but we'll put you on the list, Erin. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And it's always a big surprise what the theme is going to be every year. And it's always so delightful and fun. I look forward to it every Christmas.
I do Christmas cards, but I aspire to do like aggressive themes one day. So I'm finding that I'll put this in my inspiration bucket. Paolo, how do you and Rhiannon know each other? Where do we go back from?
From LA, honestly, Rhiannon is one of the nicest people. That's why when she had sent me that email to be a guest, I didn't even think about it. I said, yeah, of course I'll be a guest. I don't care what it is. I don't care what you're doing. I will come support you guys and give you all the love that I can possibly give you. So yeah.
Thank you.
God,
yeah,
beautiful.
I have danced in many living rooms with Paolo. And so
so we're going there.
So
okay.
Oh! Yeah, it's very fun. Paolo is such a fun person to hang out with. So it's very lucky. I know Jocelyn and Lorenzo from New Mexico, so we're cousins, and so it really does feel like this circle of family. And I love that we've stayed connected even when people have moved away. We can always come back and meet. It's always fun. Found family, right?
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, today we're talking about TV mediums in the 90s. That's going to lead us to the Oprah spiritual pipeline. Paolo, what is your introduction to TV mediums or spirituality on TV in general? Do you have any kind of memories as a kid or a teenager? watching Miss Cleo's ads or anything kind of ring any bells for you?
Yeah, I grew up Catholic, so to be honest, like for me, like, even before I came out, like I was the boy, went with my family. I have 6 siblings, my mom and my dad. We go to church on Sunday, and that's all I knew was, okay, go to church, go to church. And when Montel Williams, like when he had psychic meetings on his show, I would always question, like, wait, what is that? I didn't understand it. But because of the people I was surrounded by, they didn't want me to understand that. And not necessarily my parents, but just, my friends were my relatives. So when I would hang out at my cousin's house, they would tell me, oh, no, you don't watch Montel. You can't see, Sylvia Brown. You turn that off. So it kind of closed the door on me growing up, because they put this fear in me saying, oh no, don't, that's not God. That's somebody trying to fake it or something. So, but for me, really what opened the door was the Oprah Winfrey Show, which we'll talk about, when she started doing like Remembering Your Spirit. I think that really set something in me, trying to figure out my path in life and where I needed to be, because I wasn't getting that from the church. So I was trying to find another direction. So yeah, I think it started with that.
Beautiful.
So many. I can't wait to have this conversation. It's just like percolating so many things. Before we dive in, Rhiannon, should we set the scene here a little bit?
Yes, let's set the scene. The year is 1977. Disco was all the rage thanks to the popularity of Saturday Night Fever, and Star Wars just hit the silver screen. You relax into a beanbag on that mustard yellow shag carpet to watch the latest episode of Three's Company, while your mom is gossiping about the new Fleetwood Mac Rumors album on the kitchen phone.
Heaven Sent by Allene Cunningham just hit the bookstores in Wichita, Texas. Who is Allene? She's the most famous psychic you've never heard of. So famous, she had her own radio show, toured the country for 35 years, and was even written into a soap opera. Grab your bell bottoms, feather the tips of your hair, fill up your car's gas tank for 65 cents, and buckle up as we discuss Allene's story and the legacy of TV mediums. Woo! So much to go into. I love that we're being dropped into the 70s here. And something really interesting is, while we were doing the research for our TV mediums, we had to pay homage to Allene, because really mediums and spiritual folks started on the radio. And they started on those morning shows, and really as a form of entertainment, to connect with people, to have sometimes salacious conversations. And it really felt like radio broadcast was our first platform for people to be introduced to spirituality kind of on a grand scale. And actually, Rhiannon and I were kind of shocked, because we truly had never heard of this woman before and didn't really know her legacy or anything about her. And I will say, it was quite hard to find information and research about her, because unless a radio broadcast was taped, like on a physical tape, and then later transcoded and uploaded, it's very hard to find these old radio shows.
In fact, all we really have to know about the existence of this very fabulous woman is her obituary.
Wow.
And she published a book. So there's like a little description of what the book is about, but it's out of print. So you can barely get a copy of the book. And when you look her up, or even from what you know on the obituary, there are a couple of photos on Facebook from these broadcast radio archives to say, look at this fabulous woman, and she's always in a big fur coat,
very
or
Dolly
a suit.
Parton hair.
Yes.
Wow.
And I think a big part of it too is because she did these radio shows in like Tampa Bay or Wichita, Kansas, or Ohio. I mean, she toured, that we don't really have any record of this existence, who is a pioneer in the psychic entertainment broadcast realm.
Wow.
And we'll just give a couple more details, which I think are kind of interesting about Miss Cunningham. She didn't step into her mediumship and her spiritual gifts until she got divorced, which I think is fascinating. So she kind of had this, career as a mother and even a singer at the Chicago Opera Company, and was definitely a performer, but she was raised Baptist and she was a born-again Christian. And so it really wasn't until her divorce that her spiritual gifts kind of took center stage, and she had the space to work. And actually her son was her manager, and they would tour the country for 35 years and go around and share psychic messages and be on the radio. She has an interesting and incredible legacy that we really don't know and haven't heard a lot about.
What I think is fascinating, too, is that her husband of 23 years was a Baptist preacher. And there's something about the showmanship of a Baptist preacher that because I feel like something that I would love to dive into in this conversation is what is the difference between someone who is a medium in their world, one-on-one, versus a broadcast, versus someone who filled rooms and did group sessions. And so there must be something about who she was and how that world still influenced her. Instead of shutting off her gifts, somehow it made her more palatable to the greater world.
Wow.
Such a good point to think about a TV medium versus a regular medium, because I think about this a lot. Like, could I do it? Could I go on TV and like give people messages? I don't know. It's a big responsibility, and you do have to really perform. You have to be a showman.
I always wonder that, like when they're on TV and they're reading, especially the audience in the studio, like it always amazes me because they're just like you, and they're saying things that they're seeing or hearing. It's just like, it always like, it's mind blowing.
And something that I love about this little woman that we have no information about is that
Poor Allene. We're bringing her back. We're bringing it back.
we are, because she was so popular. The reason that we know that she was popular just from her obituary, but they wrote her into an episode of the soap opera The Doctors. Now, I haven't seen it. Paolo, have you seen this soap
No,
opera?
I watched General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, All My Children, but I haven't seen The Doctors. But I mean, I've seen clips, but I wasn't like a fan like I was with the other ABC soaps.
Yeah, I love the idea of this like random lady from Wichita also being like,
The star power is so great they had to bring her in.
yeah, because they're like, we need you.
So essentially, she's kind of setting the stage for now what I think of as like our Miss Cleos and kind of our 90s mediums that were part of the Psychic Readers Network. And this essentially was a group where you could call in and pay by the minute and get all of your questions answered. And we know a lot about Miss Cleo because she came under some scrutiny. The Psychic Readers Network actually faced a major fraud lawsuit. And so a lot has been said about Miss Cleo's authenticity and whether or not she was reading. I'm wondering if any of you guys remember, did anybody call in? And if anyone has any thoughts about kind of Miss Cleo's intuitive powers?
Well, I mean, I obviously remember the very, very formative Call Me Now infomercials in the middle of the night because I was a little insomniac. And so I absolutely loved her and her energy. What I think is fascinating, there was a documentary recently called Call Me Miss Cleo, and they dove into her history. And I think something that people really held on to is that she was an actress. She was an actress, and she was from Seattle, and she was part of the Langston Hughes Theater there. And people have said that this Miss Cleo character was born out of this play that she was working on called For Women Only, and the Jamaican accent was fake. But it was all part of this character that she was building, but also at the same time. So to me, that speaks to her showmanship. At the same time, her friends will say they kind of let her off the hook because in private, she was psychic.
Wow.
She did do readings for them, and it was legit. She did have clients after she was fired or the whole scandal kind of toppled the whole network. Yeah. But people did go to her and felt that it was very real. And so it's that thing of like, how much of the performance is for the broadcast part and how much of it is related to like faking it? Or
do you think if she wouldn't have been an actress, like would it have been different for her, like with the accent and all that? Or did that just kind of like, with her knowledge of her being an actress, just kind of like added it to it? I think it's fabulous.
Yes, it made it so fun.
Like 100%.
So memorable.
Yeah.
People said, call me now all day, every day. It's one of those like verbal tics that people just can't help doing. I mean, Raven Simone did a version of her on her show. Mad TV did versions of her. And so she was iconic. And I think that because she was an actress, because she chose this, she made a bold, you know what they say in acting is you make a bold choice and you got to commit to it. And that's what draws people in. And so there is something about the fact that she worked at this psychic hotline and they put her on TV to do a reading. And it was so popular, the phone lines flooded after it that she became the spokesman. And so what happens when you get discovered for this thing that you're doing? Like, you kind of get locked into the character too. So I don't know. I can see how, I mean, it's just part of how like fame works too.
Yeah.
I think, you know, everybody is psychic and everyone has intuitive powers. And I would imagine that if you were answering people's questions like all day, every day, like it would have to like crack you open and you would just start reading. And whether or not she was conscious of her, you know, psychic abilities, I bet in the beginning, maybe it was more of like the bit and the performance. And then it kind of developed into, oh yeah, like I can do this. I can read it. You know, you get so much practice. Like I can't imagine anybody being in that position, doing as many readings as she did and not being psychic. Like it would seem like the most plausible thing to me.
Yeah.
That actually brings up a really great quote from Allene's obituary about how she believes that everyone is psychic, everyone has abilities. And part of it is that she trained under Edgar Cayce, who is a famous psychic. It's part of why she was so positive, because he very much taught how to create your reality with your mind. And so all of her work was about helping people create a more positive reality through her like readings and her shows. And she said that everyone is psychic the same way that everyone can sing. And sure, everyone can sing in the shower, but not everyone can sing like Barbra Streisand.
Ooh, yeah. That's so good and so true. I feel like everyone who I've interviewed, every psychic medium has said the same thing, that we all have the power of, like, we don't always have to go see one, because maybe you have that gift yourself. If you're in the right place, in the right state of mind, to allow yourself to to see or to hear or to feel, like we all can do it if you allow yourself to do that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't want to skip over, you know, the legacy of our, now we have TV mediums like John Edwards, we have Tyler Henry, we have the Long Island medium, which are really kind of still in the cultural zeitgeist now. But I'm really kind of curious in diving into this conversation around Oprah, because I feel like for me, Oprah is this alchemizer that took kind of the salacious, you know, kind of the performative part of spirituality and really turned it into like a legitimate conversation and brought it deeper. And I think there's such an interesting layer of, yes, mediums can be entertainment and it can be fun, but then also like, how do we unlock our greatest potential? And I feel like she was the one who really connected the dots there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. You have to remember too that her audience too, women, female, stay-at-home moms, watching daytime television, you know, and in the beginning, I know Oprah said this many times, that people didn't like her talking about this. Like, she would be getting fan mail. People were like, "What? This is new age. This is not right. Where is she going with this?" You know. So when she started talking about it, she got a lot of hate mail. But then she was smart. Little by little, she still would incorporate, maybe not so much like every day or all the time, but she would throw it in an episode, or she would talk about herself, you know, where she's in her life with her intuitions and intentions. So I think she played it so smart to let anyone who's watching at home say, wait, maybe she's onto something.
You had a conversation with Oprah on your show, A Spoonful of Paolo, where she talked about hearing this voice. Do you want to share the story about the role that this voice played for her, and what you think about whether or not Oprah herself is maybe psychic?
I think Oprah is psychic 100%. Maybe she wouldn't say it, but I think she always says, listen to that voice in you. We all have that voice that is whispering to you, you know, telling you something. And when I remember when I had asked her, because she always talks about that story when she was a little girl and her grandmother was pinning clothes, and she had, like, you know, they were coming out of this bucket of water, and she told Oprah Gale, you better watch me because one day you're going to be doing this. And Oprah to herself, this voice in her that she still remembers, and she was like 4 or 5 years old, she still remembers, and she said, oh no, that's not going to be me. That's not going to be my life. And she said till today, she remembers that voice because that voice guided her through her life. And to me, it is so amazing because when I think of my life, or you two can think of your life, that we all have that voice that's telling us, but it is up to you to listen to that voice. You know, because we get so distracted in this world with so many distractions. But if you can listen to that voice and listen to what it's telling you, that voice most of the time is right. And that's what happened to Oprah. And it just, I was in awe when she was explaining that. Yeah.
I think it's so fascinating because she does talk. I mean, when she talked to you about it, it was very nonchalant, like, oh, we all have that voice. Like, it's just a thing that we all have, and I don't have that voice.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't remember anything when I was 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember any voice in my head. I was like, but she said this for such a long time, and I'm like, I want to know more about this voice because it is so powerful. So yeah, I do believe in a way that Oprah is this psychic medium where I think she has this gift. It's a special gift, and she has it in her, you know, ever since she was a little girl.
Yes. I mean, she talked about also how she was doing news in Baltimore, and it was that voice that told her, okay, this is done. It's time to leave. And that was the voice that took her to Chicago. And it was the same voice that when she sat down to do her first interview was like, oh, this is my purpose.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's so deep. It's so good. Oh, I love her story so much.
Well, and what I think is awesome, because you know, part of why we're doing this podcast and part of how Erin and I are trying to like run this even is like when you've got the gift, you should probably use it, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to lean into it a little bit more about letting our psychicness guide the way in this process. And what's interesting about Oprah's story is that she did listen to the voice. And I think when you trust that higher being, higher self, the voice of God, the voice of whoever you think that it is, it makes it a lot easier to do things that you're getting hate mail for.
Yeah. And then in time, I think the audience, you know, they trust her. So in time, over the years, I think the audience, you know, Oprah she was in all our households. So it's like, I think the audience started to trust her. And then they started to say to themselves, wait, it's more than me just going to church and just sitting here listening to the gospel or the hymn. Like, it's something deeper, and finding that spiritual side of you and listening to that, I think it really helped I know it helped so many people in their life, in their career, in their marriage, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, or as a husband. Like, it just helped so many people, and I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and I will also say, Paolo, I was raised Catholic also, and I feel like you had said something earlier about kind of missing a link, you know, like missing that, I don't know, we could call it spirituality or that kind of connection to the universe. There seemed to be something kind of that was lacking in kind of their views of the world, of like, this is so much greater than all of us, and we're not kind of acknowledging and stepping into it. And I think Oprah did such a beautiful job of laying the foundation to get us there. I mean, I vividly have memories of being in my mother's house, laying on the carpet, coming home from school. My backpack is like behind the Barcalounger, and she's watching Oprah every day. And hearing the conversations about like, what is spirit? And just like having this kind of running, almost like third person in our house who's opening us up and opening our hearts up to new ideas and new feelings. And it's such a beautiful way that she kind of spun us into really going deeper. And I will also just share that I had the pleasure of being part of Oprah's Super Soul 100. In 2016, she selected me and a producing partner to be part of a list and to meet her in California. And I have to say, I've certainly met, you know, a couple of celebrities here and there, and to be in her presence is, you know, I think I blacked out, to be honest. I was so excited. And it really was odd to see somebody that I grew up watching, you know, just walking around and talking to Ava DuVernay. And it was a really beautiful experience that I still cherish to this day.
Congratulations on that. That's so wonderful and well deserved for you, Erin. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I feel like I have to meet Oprah now to write.
I know. Rhiannon, we got to make this happen. I don't know how we got to make this happen somehow. We need to go to our house in Montecito. Manifest it.
Let's have a
Ooh,
glass.
I love
I was
it.
gonna say let's have a glass of wine, but she would prefer tequila.
Yes.
Oh,
Let's go
that
have some
sounds
tequila.
fun.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
this brings up, so you're talking about her presence, right? And so, Paolo, I know that you've gone to many tapings of the Oprah show. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience of being a part of that studio audience?
Yeah, me, like I lived in Chicago. I remember that number till today. That number does not exist, but it was 312-591-9222. I remember I would go on my dad's phone upstairs and it was so hard to get through, but when you got through, it was like winning the lottery because then you got tickets to the Oprah Winfrey show. And you could go twice a year and I went twice every year. Sometimes I went by myself because nobody could come with me. And I knew all the people who worked at Harpo Studios and I'm friends with them all today. Sally Lou was the head of like the audience, and we're close friends today. And for something in me, just going to the taping of the Oprah show, it was something beyond spiritual for me because it was something I wasn't getting in school. Like I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I was in special ed. I just went to work at my dad's grocery store. But going to a taping of the Oprah Winfrey show for me was like being like at Disney World. It was so magical. Not just seeing behind the scenes of how they put up this show, but it was seeing how Oprah puts this show together. And I remember all the time looking around the audience and seeing the love that these people had for her because she was so real. Like we all felt connected. She was so open with her life and where she grew up and the things that she went through, the challenges. And for me, it was inspiring. So being in that studio, audience, it was just like being at Disney World. And I remember the last time I was there with my friend, it was my ex-boyfriend, David, at the time, and I said to him, and this was when Jennifer Lopez and Richard Gere were on a guest on the show, and they were promoting their movie, Shall We Dance. I looked at David and I said, look at that door. One day, I'm going to come through those doors and be a guest on the Oprah Winfrey show. And then a month and a half later, that happened. Like, I was a guest on her show. Like, Rhiannon, you said it when you said it earlier, manifest it, say it out loud. Yes, say it out loud, because when you say things out loud and it's somehow the magic of this universe, the world, it comes back to you. And so, 6 weeks, 7 weeks later, there I was, she made my dream come true and I was a guest on her show. It was just a full circle moment.
Well, and I would even call this a psychic moment.
Yes.
Because, I'm curious because, Paolo, for your show, I think something that you do really well with all of these guests, especially your psychic guests, is that you always close with a gift. And every time you do a gift, it's always something like, how did you know that this was important to me? And so you surprised Teresa Caputo with a necklace that she was like, this is important because of my grandfather. You surprised Oprah with, this is important because this is a very special version of me. And so to me, I think that you might be a little psychic. And that story is a little bit proof of, was it that you called it into being, or was your channel open and you knew it? It was like you predicted this psychic thing for yourself.
I am literally having an aha moment right now because as you're saying this, like this is so crazy. Like my mind is taking me back of things that I've said that have happened, even when they said no to me. So like you saying that is making me like, I have like my brain's in this. I'm like, stay present, be quiet. But I think I never thought of it like that, Rhiannon. So thank you. I could see that. Yeah.
We're outing you. Is that what's happening?
Yes.
A psychic.
I don't know.
I keep outing people out of the broom closet.
Seriously.
I love it.
I can't stop doing it.
Oh my God.
I was just thinking, in the way that Miss Cleo, you just had reminded me because of Teresa Caputo, it's so interesting, like the characters we play. And I often think about this with celebrities in general, like think about like a Lady Gaga, she's not walking around as Stephanie, she has a persona that she can kind of step into her higher self. And I wonder if like the Miss Cleos and even a little bit of the Teresa Caputos, like you have to kind of own yourself as a celebrity first, and I wonder if we're a little bit more judgmental on the mediums and the intuitives who do it because we think, oh, well, you're being non-authentic. But, I never do readings or go on stage or talk to anybody without a full face of glam, and which is not my daily life. You want to present in a certain way. And I wonder if we hold, our mediums to a higher standard than other celebrities.
I think that this idea also is, it's that thing where we only allow mediums on TV in the first place because of the spectacle, right? So we can go back to Sylvia Browne as maybe the pioneer of TV, where Allene was the queen of psychic broadcasting.
Radio.
Yeah, broadcast radio. Sylvia Browne, I think, is her protege, or like the next step in that lineage, where her first TV appearance was on this like random show in 1991 called Haunted Lives, True Ghost Stories, where she like told a ghost story about Toys R Us and then acted in her own reenactment.
Incredible.
Which I love. Yes. There's something about her, but she had already been a psychic since the 70s. And it was really in the 90s when she got featured on Larry King Live and Montel Williams. Oh, Montel Williams.
Williams, sorry. Another 90s throwback.
This is how we do it.
Yeah.
But being on Montel Williams, she got to do all of these like audience readings, and she did, have like her gaudy sweaters and her bangs, or, like she was a presence. And the way that she spoke to people, it felt like such a character that people really...
So good.
It's so good. People really responded. And there were times that she was right. And there were a lot of times when she wasn't right. But also it was just Montel Williams, like the same show where it's like, is this the father? Who's the father? Or, even early Oprah was like wild. Like, are you sleeping with your wife's husband or whatever? So there is this thing about how I think at the beginning, the introduction to psychic mediums on TV is in this like the vein of Sylvia Browne, who, fun fact, was also written into a soap opera. She played herself on The Young and the Restless. So
should that be our goal, Rhiannon? Is that we get famous enough that we get written into a soap opera for being intuitives? Is that our new dream board?
Yes. Actually, I'll tell you what my real goal is I want to be my favorite dating show is Too Hot to Handle. And they always have spiritual intuitives to do workshops. And my dream is to be one of the people who host a workshop on that show.
Okay, well, I'm going on General Hospital.
Okay.
Oh my God. Wait, you said, okay, can I just tell you 2 seconds? Like literally, I've watched General Hospital since 1994 when Ricky Martin was on there. And I watched it till today with my husband. And I interned at GH the year 2000. And I always saw myself on the show. I'm like, I want to be, but I was on the show then. I was on the show that the summer of 2005 at a small role, Doug Mancino, the pizza guy. So I had like 6 episodes. So I feel like Rhiannon, like you said, maybe I had that, I said it out loud and I knew I was going to be on it and it happened. And I love GH so much. Okay, there we go.
Oh my God. So you also have been on
it.
Well, there's also, once we get a little into John Edward, you also have an overlap with him too that I'm excited to get into.
Okay.
But yeah, so I feel like we maybe hold them to a weird standard because our only awareness of TV psychics and mediums is this spectacle. And it was Oprah who took it from spectacle, even if it started as spectacle at first when she was having people, because she believed in it. And I mean, we can talk about this all day, but I think that unless you've had the experience of being psychic or having a psychic hit or having something a psychic moment, it's really easy to be skeptical that it's a fake, that people are doing cold reads or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Paolo, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a working intuitive medium, so I do readings. And as we were researching for this episode, I truly was like, how brave, because so many of the mediums, it's just about proving skeptics wrong. And I feel like I'm such a little baby that I'd be like, no, I don't want it. like if you don't believe, leave me alone. That's such a big responsibility. I think you have to be a certain type of person to be able to do that publicly and to allow the scrutiny to come for you. I think about doing the research. Tyler Henry was so young. He was 19 or 20 when he first started his show. I mean, what a tender age to really kind of own your gift and step up and do it. I mean, I think that's so wild.
He was a guest on our web show. It was in 2016, and I found him so, he was the first He was the first psychic medium we had on our show, actually, so I didn't know what to expect, and he came to our home, and he was just so gracious. He was just, there's this thing about him when he walked in that was so calm and just he went with the flow. I loved the show because, he would go read these celebrities where he didn't know who he was going to. He didn't know these homes. Like, he was just, they would drive him there, and most of the time he didn't even know who these celebrities were because he's so young, and a lot of them were older. And so he's like, oh, great, nice to meet you. But the things that he did with them, that connection, the healing that he gave to, whether it was grieving someone or losing someone or whatever they were going through in life. And then here he is in our home and listening to his story, of him having this gift since he was a little boy of seeing, I think it was his grandmother, cross his bed. Just, how could you not believe in this or even try to understand this gift that he has, that you guys have, it was just remarkable.
That's really beautiful. I do think that he is like, when I first saw him on TV, I missed the cable version, but I first saw him on, I feel like there was like a special he did for Netflix, and he talked about having a collapsed lung. Like there are like physical things that happen to him because of the work that he does and how open he is. And it always makes me want to go like, oh, let me protect you with a little bubble.
Does he think he had those physical ailments because of his readings? Is that what he has said?
In the special that I saw, I think that's what he was saying, is that it's really hard to be a medium because there are all of these things that, like, it can be really exhausting for him, or that there's like, it can be really taxing, and he'll get like, his lung will just collapse out of nowhere.
And you see it, like he sweats when he's doing it, or when he's doing his scribbling, or whatever he calls it. You see what's happening to him as he's doing these readings. So I'm like, please be careful, be careful. Yeah.
I will say, for me, my cheeks get really red and I start like breathing heavily.
Oh,
because there's some kind of weird, I don't know what it is. If it's like you're connected in, and your body, it's weird. Your brain is using a different part of itself. Like I almost feel mentally checked out when I do readings. Like I'm getting the information, because often I don't remember what I say, but the body is working in a weird way too, because my cheeks get like so hot and I start to really expand in a bizarre way. So it's interesting. Yeah, your body definitely goes through a process to read.
Yes. I prefer to do, distance readings. And part of it is so I don't see the other person's face. They can't tell me any details. I can just channel the details very specifically without it being interrupted. And also so that it's like, it feels real or whatever. Like, it can't just be like, oh, I gave you all the answers and now you're blah, blah, blah. So that's part of it. That's my TV medium proving skeptics wrong tactic. But also because when I do it, my eyes water and I yawn and I burp. And that one is the worst.
Wow.
My eyes water too, and I do yawn also.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because,
so
like, I remember when I interviewed Teresa Caputo, it's hitting me right now, is like, when I interviewed her, I could tell something was going on in her, and I looked at her, and she did her laugh, and she goes, I'm like, yeah, you're getting something's happening with you. Is my mom here? And she goes, did she like comedians? I'm like, yeah, she did. So it's like, even when I was interviewing her, like, it's like, they're still feeling, seeing, hearing, whatever it is, that they, that's coming to them. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, we've brought up Teresa Caputo a few times, so I think that we should introduce her, that she is the Long Island medium. And she had a TV show from 2011 to 2019. And she became iconic because of her hair, I want to say. Her big Italian poof really set her apart. But also her show is kind of what took the psychic medium that was once the daytime talk show idea, into the suburbs and making it more like, housewife in a different way. And so she kind of has this legacy of making it more like housewife in like the drama way, right? I felt like her show was less like studio audience and more like who she was as a person too.
I will also just say, energetically, taking classes about mediumship, they bring up Teresa a lot because because what we see in the show is her kind of going to random people. And there's a lot of conversation around like the consent of a sitter and making sure that you have like the appropriate, relationship and the setting. And a lot of mediums feel that Teresa has kind of, and I see this in my own work of like, I'll sit down or tell people I'm a medium and then they'll be like, oh my God, are you going to read me? And it's like, no, I'm not, just existing in the world. And, if you want a reading, you have to pay me. And, I've certainly given readings at the very beginning of my journey of people like in the kitchen and had them start sobbing. And it's like, oh, this isn't appropriate. Like, this isn't the time nor the place for this energy exchange. And so now I'm much more thoughtful about it.
I mean, I think this takes us back to the whole thing about TV psychics, right? Is how much of it is related to the entertainment value and network notes and making it something that can be a TV show versus what is the reality of the gift. I don't know, Paolo, you've sat with her, you've met with her, you've been on her podcast, she's been on your show. What do you think about, I feel like she talked to you a little bit about how she feels about serving an audience and how it works on camera versus off camera.
Yeah, like when they had asked me to be on our podcast, I got nervous because I've never seen a medium. It's Teresa Caputo. I didn't know what to expect. I knew what to expect, but I was just nervous. I had just lost my mom. It was 2 years before, and I have to tell you that reading, it was so. I was really nervous about it, but it was so beautiful. Like I had my mom's bracelet that I didn't tell her about. It was next to me. I wanted my mom because I was like, "Does my mom gonna come through? Does she know how to come through? I don't know. I don't know if she knows all this stuff, how it works, But it was so beautiful for me because Teresa said so many things that validated that my mom is still here on the other side. She said something in that podcast that I had to say. No, but it was true what she was saying. I just couldn't confirm it because what she said to me was something that only me and my dad and some of my siblings know. And so I couldn't say yeah on her Hey Spirit. But when she came to the hotel where I did it, to do the interview, to be a guest on A Spoonful of Paolo, I had told her, I wanted you to know that what you said, you were spot on. I closed up and I said, no, because I couldn't. Yes, because a lot of people, nobody knows about this. And so I felt so much better because it was the first time that I really understood my mom being on the other side and that she's here, she can be in Italy. And it was so beautiful because I think most of my life I was told, don't do that, don't get a reading, that's bad, all that stuff. But this was the first time that it really validated in me saying, what a beautiful, all that it is, it's healing you. It's reminding you that once they're gone from their body, they're still here. And I really loved every second. So it was great to talk about that on the web show then, to thank her and about her life. What I've noticed is a lot of like the psychic mediums, they're religious. Like John Edward, Teresa Caputo, they're both Catholic. And Teresa Caputo is still a practicing Catholic. So to me, it's even more, it's like, wow, that's awesome. Like, to my relatives, see, she's Catholic and she's got this gift that God gave her and she's using it. I love that so much. So yeah, it was really sacred and beautiful.
I think you bring up a really interesting point about this broadcast medium or the TV medium, because we spend a lot of time thinking about the psychic, right? Or the medium and the spectacle and how they may be false or whatever, or right in whatever way. But the audience members, you talked about how you're on a public platform having to come out saying like, oh yeah, this is real. This is too real. You know more than you should. Yeah. And so I wonder how often that happens where people are protecting their privacy.
Good point.
Yeah.
And that becomes part of the evidence of something wrong. Now, I will also say that I do have a theory about why it's hard to do prophecy or prediction.
Speak on it.
Oh, this is where we get real weird about time. But I don't do predicting the future. I can only do energy work related to the present. And that's because there only is the present moment. And when I see time, I see it like a spider web. And there's all of these interconnected moments. And certain points in time have like a little dewdrop on the corners. And so those are like big pivotal moments that send you on certain trajectories. But the future is probable. and you can do something very basic. Making a bold choice, like using a Jamaican accent, can completely change the trajectory of your life. And so it's really hard to make a prediction about the future, especially for one person, because if they cut bangs, suddenly they're on a different timeline. And then even on a collective level, if enough people are like, you know what, we hate war, then the war we can shift the momentum of what may feel like a really probable future, but suddenly we're all on a different collective timeline together, or some of us pop into different timelines. And now there's different groups in different places because we don't know how time works.
Yeah, you're 100%. Something I remembered as I'm talking to both of you, when I had asked Teresa Caputo if you could have a sign at a funeral home, like, you know, for all the people who are grieving for the first time, what would it say? And she's like, she had to take that in. And I remember her saying that it would say, I am healed and I am at peace. And we did this interview like, 3 years ago. I still remember that. So every time I go to a friend, a service, or wherever it is, I always envision that sign of that person that has gone to the other side, me saying to myself, well, that person is healed and that person is at peace. And it's helped me a lot. So yeah.
Ooh, that's big, because so much of our show is about trying to dig up and remember, because so much of it has been lost to history. Paolo, I think what you said is like the reason for the cover up. It's like we don't have access to peace in so many ways. And it feels like there is this cultural shift to try to get us almost to kind of like not trust ourselves and not believe ourselves and not understand our power. It's something that's been really bothering me is like this idea that the federal government would go after the National Psychic Hotline. Like, why? Yeah. Like, it's such a weird thing. And part of like the conspiracy theory of my brain is like, they don't want people to know they have access to all this energy and this time and these dreams and this, like, what an interesting thing for the government to spend time and money on.
I would say, yeah, I think that what's interesting about this is that the cover up is less about hiding the existence of it and more about flooding the airwaves with doubt, with okay, maybe there is a con. Maybe there is someone who's trying to capitalize on this. Maybe there is someone who is an actor or salacious or goofy or like, look, it's just a spectacle. It's not real. Because what harm are they doing by helping you find peace with the passing of someone, right? Yeah. Like, I guess people are saying, well, I'll tell you what John Oliver says. So I think part of the cover up too is it's very much about how do we delegitimize a psychic. And I would even say that there's another, like in the feminist, like when it's a woman who's a psychic on TV, it's very much like, oh, she's a psychic. It's woo-woo. It's not real. They're preying on the grieving, vulnerable people, right? And then when it's a man, it's like they're a mentalist. They're reading. They're doing a cold read. They're Googling. I saw someone say that John Edward would Google or Facebook stalk everyone in the audience. And it's like, who has the time?
Who could do that? Yeah.
Please. But also, so John Oliver in 2019 did a whole segment criticizing Sylvia Browne and TV psychics. And he said, when psychic abilities are presented as authentic, it emboldens a vast underworld of unscrupulous vultures more than happy to make money by offering an open line to the afterlife, as well as many other bullshit services.
Yowza.
Oof.
Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
And so I think the delegitimizing of it, but I think, John Edward, who is the first person to have a first psychic medium to have a nationally syndicated television show, which premiered in 2001. He became really popular after he had his 9/11 special, where he helped people grieve the loss of the victims of 9/11, which Teresa Caputo also kind of followed in that lineage for the 20th anniversary, right? And I feel like Teresa Caputo said it, and so it makes sense for John Edward too, is that these are people who a lot of bodies weren't recovered, so they couldn't really properly grieve, and so they were able to help people connect with people that were just like disappeared all of a sudden overnight. And Paolo, you talked to John Edward where he talked about how he doesn't want to be the source of your connection. Do you want to dive into how he talked, what he believes is the relationship with a medium?
Yeah, I think John Edward is so amazing. Like the minute he walked into the room, there was something so special about him. I mean, like when he released a book that he had written with an FBI agent. He worked with him for 25 years, and no one knew that he was doing these cases. Only his wife. And he didn't want to do it. An FBI agent, even the FBI agent Bob, he didn't even believe in him. Like he tested him in the beginning. He gave him like 4 objects, but he took one object did not belong to the victim, so he put something else in there. And right away, John, when he was looking at these objects, he knew that one object out of the 4, he knew that it did not belong to the victim. So it's this thing that when I was talking with him, because it's like Teresa Caputo's, she's like you guys said, the big hair, the personality, the fun. And John Edward is just a simple guy who, who I had asked him, what do you know for sure about the other side? And he said to me, nobody knows we don't know anything for sure about the other side. But what I could tell you is that what I know for sure is there's a connection. And I'm like, yeah, because nobody knows the other side, but him just saying that there's a connection. We all have that connection. It's just like, I'm like, God, he's so real. This guy who's been doing this for 40 years. He's been doing this for 40 years. And, he just goes with the flow, and I fell in love with him.
Yeah. Something really beautiful that he had mentioned in that same conversation was that he's not talking to the loved ones. The loved ones are with you.
Yeah.
And he's just validating that this is what they're saying. And so ultimately the idea is, don't come to me. I just want to confirm that they're talking to you, and now it's your task to listen.
Yeah, and he's a psychic medium. He could, he goes around the country, the world, and does readings and stuff. But he said that if you don't need them all the time, one time good too. But it's something that you can find for yourself. And if you're going every week to a psychic medium, going down the street, going to a friend's friend, then he's like, you have to question where you are in your life, and maybe you should see a grief therapist, like which I've done, So it's like he's so real and honest, and he cares for people. Like he cares for you, and you feel it and you see it.
I love that. See, how is that preying on the vulnerable? That's
seriously.
all I want to say.
And growing up and being Catholic, they would always say, I had so many questions, and they would say, oh, don't ask questions. You couldn't ask questions. Like, okay, but I don't really understand any of this. Don't ask questions. Like my relatives were like, you can't ask questions. Okay, we don't ask questions to Jesus. I won't ask, but I will in my sleep. But like having this talk show and talking to these mediums, it just has opened your mind, this platform saying, what a beautiful gift, because I truly believe that God has sent these mediums to help heal people who are grieving, to tell them it's not the end, it's just the beginning. You'll get through this. And to me, it's such a beautiful thing. And I hope everyone could somehow get there and see this special gift.
I love it. I think what a beautiful way to end on, the love and the compassion that these folks are up to. And yes, it's a complicated industry. There's a lot of, highs and lows, but I think such a beautiful way to kind of sit with kind of the individual experience, the discernment of your own, try it out or try to talk to your own ancestors. Rhiannon and I recently did a Witch TV about how to connect to your ancestors without a medium. So do your own exploration and open your own heart and see how it goes. Paolo, before you go, we have to tease out that after this episode, we're doing a bonus where Rhiannon and I are actually going to become TV psychics, and we are going to read some callers who called in. They've got questions about their love life, about their future, about curses. And so, Paolo, actually, this is going to be your first time reading. So you're going to read with us. And
we already know that you're a psychic, so it will be a psychic reading.
We already know. Rhiannon and I are going to do a quick outfit change, and then we'll see you guys on the bonus episode. But Paolo, thank you so much for being here, for deep diving, for sharing all of your knowledge. It's been so gorgeous talking to you.
Thank you both so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to plug so that our audience can find you?
Our website, a spoonfulofpaolo.com. Yeah, Paolo. Instagram at Paolo Presta. And I love what I do. I love, with my husband, it's just us two who do this web show 15 years. We pour our heart into each episode. We make it really special. We make it unique and different. So thank you for, allowing me to share this on your platform, Rhiannon and Erin. Thank you.
I love it. Okay, Rhiannon, are you ready for your outfit change?
I am. I do also want to point out that, you talked about connecting with your ancestors without a medium. Paolo, I love that you're wearing a Bluebird shirt.
Oh, I had to, for sure.
I was thinking that's a sign. What is that from?
It's my mom's sign. It's the first sign that I had asked her when my mom had passed away. It was before we went to the funeral. I said to my mom, if you can send me a sign, can you send me bluebirds? And I was very specific. I didn't just say birds or, I said bluebirds. And then a couple of days later, my husband and I went for a walk outside and he wanted to go this way. I went this way. I go, no, let's go this way. And we passed by this store and in the window, there were all bluebirds. And so since that day, all I see are bluebirds, and sometimes if I'm not present, I don't see it. My husband sees it. So so that's why I wanted to wear this. So thank you for noticing that. Yeah.
I love that your mom got to be here with us.
For sure. Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Here we go.
And I am now Miss Riri.
Oh, that's your psychic name?
Yes, Miss Riri.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
I'm going to put my gloves on.
Paolo, I loved that in your episode with Teresa Caputo, she was like, your hair is bigger than mine.
I was like, okay, girl, it is. Rhiannon, that's what made me do my post yesterday. I posted a picture of my outfit yesterday, and I said that I'm 5'8", but with my hair tall, I'm 5'9". And because I know I was coming on your show, you guys, I literally thought of her saying that to me. That's why I wrote that yesterday. It's so crazy.
Synchronicity.
So
yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the Hidden History of Magic, our bonus episode where we are going to read live for you. We are the TV mediums of the Hidden History of Magic. You could call me the Buffalo medium. And Rhiannon, what are we calling you this half hour here?
Miss Riri.
Miss Riri. Okay. Paolo, what's your special name going to be?
Oh my God. Let's see, Paolo. Miss.
I like Pussy Paolo.
Oh my God, Pussy Paolo. We could say that.
Is that what you just said, or no? Did I make that up?
I kind of was thinking, but I'm like, I don't know if I could say that.
No,
oh my God, that's so weird.
He didn't say it out loud. Did you read his mind?
I was thinking, can I even say that? Okay,
well,
yes.
I gotcha.
That is, I feel like that's a little homage to Chocha.
Oh, yes.
Which is a character that he plays.
Yes.
Which means pussy in Spanish.
Oh my God. It's what a full circle moment.
Yes.
We're having fun already. I love it. Okay, so should we get to our first caller?
Callers, if you would like to call in, we are at 1-900, not a scam.
Hi, this is Natalie calling in from Valparaiso. My question is, how do you make sure to protect your energy and all of the things that you're trying to manifest and move through with intention from people who don't honor your energy or don't want your vibe to be positive? Thank you.
It's a great question. And I feel like it's a very relatable one. It's, when there are people around us who are, in negativity, it can feel like it's very much like we have to honor it as real. I will say that I drew the Ace of Swords. And to me, that makes me think of, it's like a new beginning, a new path, new ideas sprouting. In this one in particular, too, it's this like really beautiful, flowery mind, which I think is very accurate of Natalie, is that she's in this space where she has all of these brilliant blossoming ideas and she's trying to follow it. And, when the Ace of Swords here, it's like people are trying to cut her down. Like I think of this, I don't know if it's British or just Australian idea of tall poppy syndrome, where some people can't help but cut it down. And I think that when it comes to outside energy, the thing to remember is that it's outside. It's outside. And so in this way, it only becomes real. It only affects your energy when you accept it as true. All right. We can't reveal the whole spell just yet. If you love this preview, the full bonus episode is waiting right now in your feed. Subscribe and meet us on the other side. Thank you so much for listening to the Hidden History of Magic. If you like the show, please rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. This show is produced by Rhiannon Houch and Erin Bagwell. A very special thanks to our patrons who make this podcast possible.
To join our coven of gorgeous witches, get bonus episodes, attend live events, and learn real magic inspired by each episode, join us on Patreon.
If you would like your own personal reading from Rhiannon or Erin, check out our links in the show notes. Until next time.